twists. I can't believe it. And it's regarding Reiss Nelson, it's regarding Sterling, it's regarding all these players. Arsenal may be in a position to actually sign a winger, and this is what we want. We want Arsenal to sign a winger, so hopefully this gets done. But I'm just seeing a lot of stuff now coming out, especially with Reiss Nelson, that Arsenal want to sign, like clubs want to sign Reiss Nelson, and it's up to Arsenal now. Do we sell Reiss Nelson? Is that's the big question, to be honest. Is it worth selling Reiss Nelson? Is it going to allow us to get someone like Sterling? But there is a lot happening. There is so much happening for Arsenal, and I think now the window is going to start heating up, especially for us. I really do hope so, because if Nelson is attracting interest, it shows that Arsenal are willing to sell, and that is what a lot of these journalists are saying. We got Kanak, who is actually really, really reliable. He's saying that Arsenal are willing and open to selling Reiss Nelson. And if we are open to selling Reiss Nelson, surely that means someone like Raheem Sterling is on the cards to come to Arsenal. And we need this desperately. This is what I've got my fingers crossed for, that we've got a winger that is potentially coming into the club. You know, that's the big thing for us. That's the massive thing. If Nelson's going out, someone's got to come in, and the clock is ticking. Is it going to be Sterling? I'm seeing stuff like, you know, Anthony Gordon being mentioned. If it's Anthony Gordon, could you imagine him coming in on deadline day? Because Newcastle are looking to get, you know, Alanga. I don't think that's going to happen, but there's a lot of talk right now that there's going to be a late twist in the transfer window. And let me know, guys, what's your thoughts on this all? Would you be excited with an Anthony Gordon and Reiss Nelson leaving the club? But this is where we're kind of messed up, though, because if Reiss Nelson does leave the club and we don't bring anybody in, we will be in a horrible situation. We will have not enough attackers. We'll have, you know, Trossard, we'll have Martinelli, we'd have Saka, we'd have Havertz, we've had Jesus who's out injured. That won't be enough. So if Reiss Nelson is going, hopefully Arsenal have the plan to bring in a Sterling. Would you take a Sterling? I don't know. If you are in the stream, make sure you are liking it up. It will be very much appreciated. But there is some late drama. Hopefully, I'm seeing a lot of stuff now coming through from really reputable, you know, journalists. Even David Ornstein has come out to say, as of yet, there is nothing, but, you know, keep your eyes peeled. There is stuff happening. There's stuff that could happen, and I'm sure a lot of you guys really want us to bring an attacking player. I certainly do. I mean, we haven't even announced the signing of Neto. We got him from Bournemouth, and we haven't even announced it. I don't know if Arsenal are scared, Arsenal are worried. If they had announced Neto, the sort of backlash that they could get. But, you know, that's not even been announced. So it's actually quite crazy there, to be honest. I'm sure later down the line, Arsenal will announce him. I wasn't really too bothered with the backup goalkeeper situation. You know, it's not really for me to talk about. You know, we just needed a goalkeeper of any description, to be honest. If it was, you know, Rams that was leaving the club, which he has, we just needed anyone, and Neto was the one. And it also didn't make sense to bring in a backup goalkeeper who's still young for around 30 million euros. That would have been such a dumb, you know, decision from the club. So good, we got Neto in. He's liked by the squad. He'll fit in really well. But that's not what we're here for. That's not what we're waiting for. We're waiting for something from, you know, Sterling, Nelson. We need some news with the window closing at 11 p.m. We need something to happen now. Things have got to start accelerating. And something does tell me that Raheem Sterling could be on his way to Arsenal. I really do think this could happen. I really am hopeful. I don't know if it's just me being hopeful as an Arsenal fan, but I really do feel like we're going to get somebody in. We're going to get, you know, Sterling in. Yeah, welcome to the stream. I am Wasme, Joshua Dio. Yes, I really do feel like we're going to start getting some signings in right now, and don't go to sleep too early, I would say. It has been quite a disappointing day. A lot of Arsenal fans have been really disappointed on Twitter. I was like, you know, opening Twitter, I was like, what is the point of me doing this right now? Seeing Arsenal fans complaining, we've lost the league, we're in a top four battle. No, we just got to be calm. Remember, Mikel Arteta is a manager who wants to be, you know, not just signing any old body. And I know we want anybody, we take Sterling, we take all these players, but what is the point in this moment of time in just getting any player? Because next season we might not even want someone like Sterling, or we might not even want, you know, Johan Garcia. But yeah, at this point, I'd be happy with Sterling. As an Arsenal fan, I really want an attacker, but with using my brain, I know if we get Sterling in, will he be useful next season? That's the big thing. And if he's not going to be useful next season, what's the point in bringing him in? He wants £150,000 per week. That is a lot of money for somebody who may not be seen as a long-term sort of target. News on Joan Garcia, that is completely gone, done. Neto will be announced soon. There's actually pictures of Neto, you know, in an Arsenal kit. Let me try and actually bring it up on my phone for you guys here. Make sure you have like the stream gunners. Here it is. I don't know if you guys can see that. Hopefully it does focus. If it doesn't, that's such a shame. But that is Neto. Sorry if it didn't focus. Neto has been announced for Arsenal. He's going to be announced very, very soon. And hopefully we can just all come together and be like, okay, we've brung in someone like Neto. It's not ideal, but we've addressed the issues. We needed a Marino in. It's unfortunate he got injured. That's massive. So annoying. If you haven't heard, goodness, Marino is out. He's going to be out for 4 or 5 weeks. It's horrible. But we've got to adapt now. We've got Thomas Partey, who we need to believe in. Not ideal, but that's just how football is sometimes. And if we look at the window as a whole, Marino, Calafiori, David Raya was brought in on a permanent. Neto's being brought in on a permanent. Not ideal, but it is better than last season. We've definitely strengthened. I know Smith Rowe's gone. I know Vieira's gone. I know all these players have gone, but they didn't play a lot of minutes last season, and that's okay. We've strengthened in the way we had. That's okay. The way we've strengthened is decent enough to go on a title charge. Make sure, guys, you have like the stream. It is really, really helpful for the algorithm. But yeah, let me know. Is this deadline day as exciting as you thought it would be? Because there actually is something that has come out right now regarding Raheem Sterling. As I'm live, I've just got a notification, and it says Raheem Sterling is currently not advanced. His situation now looks complicated. He's committed to Chelsea if he stays. So there we have it. To be honest, not the news that you want to be hearing. Quite a reliable guy here. Sam C Sport reports says, his situation looking complicated. He's committed to Chelsea. It's disappointing. I know a lot of us would take Raheem Sterling at this moment in time, but it looks like Arsenal don't want to make silly decisions at this late stage of the window. And not to get your hopes up, but Sterling looks like he's going to be staying at Chelsea. And that's really interesting, though, because Jadon Sancho, is he going to go to Chelsea? What's the point in getting another player on the wages that Sterling are on and then keeping Sterling? Isn't the best thing for Chelsea to not just give Sterling to us on a loan and we pay his wages? Because he's not going to be playing any minutes. It will be so, so disappointing. I really think we should go in for Johan Bakayoko. I think it's too late for those sort of wingers and those sort of signings. I don't see Arsenal doing it. I really, really, really just want us to go in for someone like Bakayoko. I've been a big fan of him, but I don't see it this late into the window because PSV will need a replacement. I just saw 4 clubs have inquired for Nelson. Yeah, apparently Fulham is one of those clubs, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle as well. But we will not sell Reiss Nelson if we don't have someone lined up. That's not how we operate. Obviously, Arsenal is this one in, one out policy. If Nelson goes, I will be absolutely confident we get somebody in. It will just make absolutely zero sense to have less numbers going into the season. It would be really, 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 really dumb from Arsenal. And I don't think we're dumb. But what the reports are saying is we're open to selling him. So I'm now kind of getting excited again. Is the fact that Nelson is set to leave, does that mean we're bringing someone in? Is there a mystery name out there? Is there Sane back on the cards? Is anything on the cards? I just really hope something is there on the cards. There's even another report here coming in from Darren Arsenal live. Anyway, I think they may wait for the last 2 hours and throw an option in there. So there's so much going on right now regarding Arsenal news. There's everything going out from left, from right, from centre. It can be really hard to follow, but yeah, there seems like there may be a late twist because a lot of journalists have come out to say, as things stand, nothing is happening. And when they emphasize that as things stand, it just goes to show that maybe Arsenal fans, there's something there for us. But I'm just going to read out this report that's just come out. Not signing a striker will input pressure on the manager. I think something will happen regarding a striker. Another reputable source has said that just now. Maybe a Gyökeres is on the cards, Gunners. I know a lot of you love Victor Gyökeres. Maybe he is on the cards. Maybe that's the deadline day twist, because Nelson going out has given me this confidence that a Gyökeres, a 9, someone like him may be on the cards. I know a lot of Arsenal fans really love Victor Gyökeres, really want him in the club, but it just does seem too unrealistic right now that Victor Gyökeres is coming to Arsenal. But this one in, one out policy would make sense regarding that. Let me know, Gunners. Is Victor Gyökeres somebody you would love to see as a player that's mystery coming in these last hours? But I do wonder in terms of the clubs, how medicals sort of work. Will we have enough time to do a medical? Will we not have enough time to do a medical? There is a lot of things we need to consider, to be honest, regarding signing a player this late on. Is it a panic buy again? Because we're past the time now as Arsenal, as a club, making these panic buys. We're not dumb anymore. We're not going to make these silly decisions. We're going to get the right profile. We're going to get the right player. And I assure Mikel Arteta, he's literally the guy at the top now. In the last couple of years, People weren't listening to Mikel Arteta. It would be Edu making the decisions, Kroenkes, of course. Now they trust Mikel Arteta because obviously he's had a really good track record with the signings he's made. So maybe it is Arteta we should be more directing our anger towards because we haven't signed someone rather than, an Edu or these people, because Mikel Arteta, he's the one in charge. He's making the decisions. If he doesn't feel like somebody is fit for the club, he's not going to sign them. And fair enough to Mikel Arteta. He's got us where we are. We need to, sort of now focus on the season now. If this is the group of players we have, okay, so be it. We saw already last season with the players that we had from last season, that was a good enough, group of players for us to go in and succeed. And we were so close to City. Now we've added Marino and Calafiori, two of the most sought after players in Europe. There's no reason we can't be challenging with the current squad at all. And I feel like we need to just not panic, keep our trust in Arteta. Maybe next summer we'll get ourselves an Isak, a Leao, a Kvaratskhelia, and we'll be looking at this season and be like, yes, it was the right decision to wait. Kwame says Arsenal's tactics are hard to beat. Yes, even with the players we've got currently, our tactics are really, really hard to beat. We need to remember we're no longer in the Wenger days whereby you'd actually say the season is quite literally over without a signing. Now we're experienced. Now we've got a manager that knows what he wants. And we can be confident. We should be confident. Even if nobody comes in, we have the players, we have the qualities, we have one of the best managers in the world right now with a really exciting group of players. And it will be interesting to see how we sort of adapt because even if you look at the other sort of teams in the window, every single fan isn't happy with the business their club has made. Liverpool fans are disappointed they didn't sign a central defensive midfielder. United fans are unhappy that they didn't sign a midfielder. City fans are unhappy they didn't sign any sort of backup to Alvarez. Even Chelsea fans are unhappy that they won't sign Osimhen. There's so many fans from other clubs which are unhappy. So we need to stay, sort of grateful and happy with the squad we've got, that we can still be up there fighting for a title. Guys, make sure you do hit that like button. Let's try and get to 20. We're on 16 so far. Thank you all for tuning in. This transfer deadline day, I know, hasn't been what I was expecting when I woke up. I was like, I'm going to wake up early. I'm going to see Arsenal going in for Raheem Sterling straight away. I'm going to see, Joanne Garcia signed straight away as well. But no, it hasn't happened. But I'm just trying to stay optimistic, to be honest. I really want to stay optimistic because I really, really, really do sort of believe in the club, in how we work. Somebody says my voice is low. It might be a bit of an issue with the audio. Sorry. Let me see if I can try and fix it. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I just wanted to say to you lot, we've got to stay confident. We've got to stay, with this manager. He's got us where we are now. Why start complaining about signings? I don't see the point in complaining about signings right now when we've seen how well we have done so far. We're going to win the league this season. I wholeheartedly believe this league is for us to win for sure. I definitely believe it is. Even if we don't get Sterling, Martinelli's going to come to form. We often forget how good Gabriel Martinelli is. It's really disappointing when I see Arsenal fans kind of saying, but Martinelli is not firing. He's going to come good. We know how good this guy is. We know the sort of potential he has. Let's keep on believing in him because once he hits form, I'm sure a lot of us will forget about a winger signing. We have this short-term sort of memory sort of thing as Arsenal fans. We're sort of forgetting how good Martinelli can be. If he's firing, what's the point in bringing in a winger? I know we're scared for Saka, but is Reiss Nelson that bad? Are we actually, as Arsenal fans, convinced that Reiss Nelson as a player is just not good enough, that we can't even give him, sort of 20-minute cameos? Because I don't think he's that bad. We can even put Martinelli on the right wing. We've got options there. If Arteta's happy, we have to be happy. That's the sort of thing we've got to go into this season with. And I know a lot of you, again, number 9, Havertz, Jesus, when both are fit, that is some really, really good quality options. I would be so delighted with that sort of thing, Havertz and Jesus. If you told me 2 seasons ago we'd have these sort of quality centre forwards in the club, a Havertz who scored, over 15 goals and assists in the running, a Jesus who was so good, especially at the start of his Arsenal career and in the Champions League as well. If you told me those would be our striker options from the Chaco brothers, Lacazette and Aubameyang, no disrespect to them, but towards the end of their career, they really did kind of fall off. But if you told me we would have got these in Havertz and Jesus to replace Aubameyang and Lacazette, I would have been so happy. So I don't see the reason for us to sort of, panic. I know, Edu came out with this quote at the beginning of the summer and he was like, you're going to be so excited and delighted by the end of the window. Are we delighted? Are we excited by the end of this window? I don't know. And it is disappointing that all of us can't come together and be delighted, but we've got to be confident. We've got to trust the club. If we haven't signed a winger, we clearly couldn't get one. And Nico Williams is a sort of a player we've been going after this whole window, and it hasn't happened. And he was clearly the first choice for Arsenal. And Mikel Arteta, if you're our first choice and we can't get you, we're gonna move on. Because I've heard David Ornstein come out and say Mikel Arteta is the number one. Not Mikel Arteta, sorry. Nico Williams is the number one. Winger choice, and Arteta, out of every single winger in the whole of world football, would prefer Nico Williams. And when Mikel Arteta comes out to say that, you've got to just say, okay, maybe next season, let's be patient, let's wait. Nico Williams will come to us next year. Let's just trust the guys we've got, because it's a young squad as well. We're not aging. It's not time's not running away from us. Players aren't going to leave this season if we don't win the Premier League. Of course, silverware is great. It gives the players some taste of the future, but no one's going to leave. This project is only really just beginning. We're only really now hitting our peak, hitting those levels we've always wanted to hit. So there's no reason for us Arsenal fans to be that disappointed. And another, sort of report has just come in. Again, things are looking, it's looking not too good with Sterling apparently now. That's what's coming out from certain journalists. But again, the panic under these sort of posts is quite interesting to see, because you'd think we're in a top 8 battle and we need Sterling and we won't get anywhere without Sterling. Because if we actually look at it from the footballing side, is Sterling an upgrade on Martinelli at his best at this moment in time? No disrespect to Raheem Sterling, a fantastic player, but if Martinelli was firing, would we want Sterling as much? I don't think so. Trossard as well. Weren't we all singing Trossard's name last week? Why are we now suddenly being like, oh, Trossard, he's not even an option. Martinelli's not even an option. These are top quality wingers, enough to take us as far as we need to go. And I feel like it's the sort of thing that Arsenal fans need to believe in. Believe in the squad, believe in the players, believe in Trossard. He's going to start tomorrow, show people what he's all about. And that's what I can't wait to see either. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you have hit the like button. And another thing has actually come in whilst I'm live. A lot of stuff is coming in. Arsenal's stance is that they would be willing to allow Reiss Nelson to leave for the right price. It is thought that a deal for Raheem Sterling remains highly unlikely, while Eddie's move to Crystal Palace is still on as it stands. So again, Nelson leaving means that we still might not get Sterling. Now this is where I'll be a bit confused, to be honest. If we're letting Nelson leave and not bringing in, a winger, what's the point? Why would we want to lose a player like Reiss Nelson, an option like him, if we aren't going to bring anyone in? That's where I can understand Arsenal fans being a lot more disappointed and very upset, because we're losing a player like Nelson, ability to play on the right, ability to play on the left, and we're not bringing in an option. So what does that tell us as fans? Is that telling us, we've got enough? We've got a lot more games this season. I feel like my frustration was more with the fact that if Nelson goes, we don't bring anybody in, because Nelson can be used. He can be used as that Saka rotation. He can be used as a left winger. If he goes, now we're screwed. Now we're quite literally screwed, because the numbers in the attacking areas is quite simply not enough. And now that makes me sort of think again to the academy boys. We lost Cozier Duberry not too long ago. Why couldn't he be patient? I feel like he could have waited. He's gone out on loan now to Blackburn. He could have been patient. He could have waited, and maybe now he could have got his chance on the right wing to be the Saka backup. So again, you kind of question him. If we weren't going to keep Cozier Duberry, what's the plan now with the right wing situation? What is actually the plan? But yeah, I've just seen another comment come in. I don't think we will sign anyone, Joshua Dio. My stance exactly. I don't feel like Arsenal are going to bring in any sort of bodies outside of Neto. I'll be really, really shocked. I'll be shocked again if Reiss Nelson leaves the club. That's 2 shocks for me. Nelson going and a signing other than Neto. I really don't feel Arsenal is going to do it. We've left it too late if we're going to bring in anybody, and we're not just that sort of club anymore. 2 years ago, maybe, where we signed Jorginho when we couldn't get Caicedo on deadline day. We were going for Douglas Ruiz when we couldn't get Caicedo on the deadline day before. So Arsenal, we are always going for a sort of player on deadline day, and it seems like sometimes we have to settle for the Chelsea reject. It's now so many seasons in a row that Arsenal have, gone into deadline day kind of hoping to sign a sort of Chelsea reject. And hopefully it will change soon, because I don't like signing players from Chelsea. No matter how good they are, there's just something not right about signing a Chelsea player. Although some of them come in to do good, Havertz has done all right, Jorginho has done pretty well as well. There's just something you don't want to be doing, signing players that are not wanted from Chelsea, because it just shows you something, or maybe it is just Chelsea's environment that's why they can't sort of shine at Chelsea. But again, another sort of news has come in again, Gunners. Again, Nick Nelson was actually decent in pre-season. He may have a future here at Arsenal. I don't think so. Dumbest Chef comes out to say that Reiss Nelson is actually being approached quite quickly here. I don't know about this. I don't know why we'd want to get rid of Reiss Nelson. There's a lot of reports now coming out that Reiss Nelson is a player that Arsenal are willing to lose so late in the window. It's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's 4 hours to do something. I do not know. I do not know about that. Letting Reiss Nelson go with 4 hours to go and not even getting a replacement in. That is where I get the Arsenal fans getting upset. This isn't a well constructed roster. We need cover. I agree with both of you, Kappa, Flapper, Dapper, and Umran. I believe with both of you that this is true. This roster, in attacking sense, isn't constructed well, especially if Reiss Nelson goes. That is where I'll be like, wow, what on earth are we doing? We need cover. Say Saka gets injured. What next? What actually is next? God forbid that happens. What do Arsenal Football Club do if Bukayo Saka is injured and you got rid of Reiss Nelson? You move Martinelli to the right and play Trossard on the left. Jesus is currently injured right now. He's a right wing option. What do you do? This is a really, really tricky situation now. Nelson goes, Saka's injured. Who actually plays right wing that can produce the numbers and give you confidence to perform to a high level? Reiss as a right wing, that's not even his first position. Martinelli, that's not even his first position. So what do Arsenal Football Club actually do? That is the big thing for me. What do we actually do if Saka goes down? And that's my same question with Martin Ødegaard, our captain. Quality player. Ethan Nwaneri, is he going to come in and deputise for him? I mean, that's going to be such high pressure on Ethan Nwaneri if Ødegaard goes down injured, because Merino is now out injured. So Arsenal Football Club are in such a difficult situation if Reiss Nelson goes. And I get it, Kappa Flapper Dapper, if we sell Nelson, I will cry. I will cry as well. I don't feel like that's a move we need to do. If we're not bringing anyone, don't sell Reiss Nelson. Please do not sell Reiss Nelson. You cannot sell Reiss Nelson if we aren't bringing any business in. Otherwise, we are doomed if a Saka injury comes in, if an Ødegaard injury comes in. Because even Saka can play in the right number 8 position, and then you shift Nelson to the wing if Ødegaard's injured. But if Nelson goes, you lack that option again. So Mikel Arteta, he's got to have a plan. Does he believe we can last all the way to January? I do not know. This is a lot of questions that need to be asked of Arteta, because he kind of did come in. I don't know if you Gunners did watch the press conference. Mikel Arteta comes in. He gives us 4 updates, 4 horrible updates. Number 1, Marino is injured. Number 2, Eddie is going. I know Eddie is not rated by a lot of us. I get it. A lot of you don't, sort of rate Eddie as a good striker, but he's a body. He's an extra option up front that I thought, okay, if Eddie's going, if Nelson's going, Arsenal will do something to, sort of replace the void that they're leaving. It's a void. There was a lot of minutes, especially by Nketiah last season. So I was thinking, okay, let's be smart now. We've lost Eddie. Let's bring in some sort of an attacking, option in there. Smith Rowe as well went, okay, let's bring an attacking. Vieira was the one I was kind of shocked with as well. I want to get on to him. He was the one where I was quite shocked why we let him go. I don't get that one. Arteta rates him really highly, and he provided an option in the attacking number 8 position. And some breaking news has actually come over. Chelsea are discussing a move over Raheem Sterling, according to TalkSport. This is just coming right now. The talks are regarding the subject of a loan move to North London. Now, that is good news, Gunners. Good news has just come to me right now. Arsenal and negotiating with Chelsea over a loan move. I feel like that is what would be a lot better if we can get Raheem Sterling on loan. I'd be happy with that, and Nelson goes the other way. If a swap for Sterling for Nelson, I think that's a good deal. That is something that we can really get behind. I can get behind, to be honest. If we can bring in someone like Sterling to replace Nelson going out, that would be a successful window for me. Juan Norden says, breaking news, Arsenal sack Edu if fail sign new striker, says Arsenal News. Sacking Edu, I don't feel like that's right. Edu has done all right. It's annoying. He hasn't got the targets in. In January, I was hearing stuff like Alexander Isak is coming to Arsenal. I was hearing so much positivity around that, and I hoped, okay, Isak is coming through in January in this window. I thought, okay, this is really, really good news for us. We're finally getting in some bodies. We're finally signing a quality striker that we needed. I also saw, Evan Ferguson is coming in, and I thought, okay, that's fantastic news too. No striker, no winger. And I'm sure you guys are going to remember as well. Last in January, an article came out. Arsenal need an X Factor attacking player. They're willing to sign an X Factor attacking player. Nothing has happened in terms of that, and I get the frustration now with you Arsenal fans that are being like, Edu has done a poor job because we were promised an attacking, sort of outlet, sort of player, and we haven't got him. A lot of us, if you picked between signing Calafiori and signing an attacking player, I wonder, guys, what would you pick between an attacking player and Calafiori? What is your general thoughts on that? Would you have been upset if we got an attacking player over Calafiori? Because for me, I never expected Calafiori to come in. Don't get me wrong, he's a fantastic defender. He's going to be so, so good for us. But if you told me at the beginning of the window, I was looking at, our defense. I was like, okay, I'm confident. I do not expect another defender signing for the next 3 or 4 seasons. And then I see Arsenal sign Calafiori, obviously a player with a lot of quality. But if you ask me, signing Calafiori would mean we wouldn't sign an attacking player. I wouldn't want to sign Calafiori, and that's no disrespect to him. But I really wanted an X factor sort of attacking player. I really, really did. And I really thought this summer we'd sort of get that. But it seems like that's not sort of happening at the minute. But yeah, let me know. Are you disappointed that we haven't got this sort of X Factor signing? Because a lot of Arsenal fans clearly are disappointed at this. But Raheem Sterling for Nelson seemed like a sort of deal I would love to do. And I'm just getting some more news. Let me just search this up. Let me see. Yeah, I've just seen a comment, bro. Don't you think we can get a decent striker like Brian Bobby? I've read about Brian Bobby. I'm not a big fan of him, to be honest. Is he a sort of striker that's going to take us to that next level? I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest. I've watched him play. He seemed like a decent player to hold up the play, but is he going to take us to the next level? I'm talking about level raises. We've got the sort of floor sort of signings now. Let's get level raises, and I don't think Brian Bobby is the sort of player to take us, these levels up. Trossardinho says this club is a disgrace. I mean, I wouldn't take us as far as the disgrace. I would say it's disappointing if Reiss Nelson goes and we do not bring anybody in. If Reiss Nelson goes, I'm disappointed because we haven't been proactive. We haven't thought this through. We haven't brought an attacking player, and we're leaving ourselves short in a really, really long season. One fit striker who was signed as a midfielder. The club is finished. I wouldn't go as far as finished, but we are in a really, really, sort of weaker position because Kai Havertz was signed to play in midfield. Arteta realised it wasn't going to work. Then now we've got, we've got weaker in the midfield whilst sort of adding Havertz as an attacking option. It's kind of this weird sort of scenario. I do feel like Havertz will be playing in midfield again, though. I don't feel like he's going to be a striker for definite. I just feel like that's not how Mikel Arteta sort of operates. He sees Havertz as a versatile option. And fair play to him. If he sees him as a versatile option, great. Let's add more numbers. Because at the minute, with Marino out injured, Thomas Partey, a player who's injury prone, it can get messy and ugly quickly for Arsenal. And I'm sure the board are kind of sweating and hoping that doesn't happen. And if you didn't know, it was actually Gabriel who injured Marino. And that is quite odd for me. I didn't expect Big Gabby to be the sort of guy to injure someone in training. But I guess he's just such a competitive player that, if someone like Big Gabby is falling on you and onto your arm, that's a big, big injury, to be honest. Someone like Big Gabby falling on you is not something you can recover from really, really quickly. So such an unfortunate thing for Marino. I was so excited to potentially see him play tomorrow. But goodness, let's keep our focus on the game tomorrow. Definitely. I feel like we shouldn't be upset here. I know we wanted to get XYZ. I know we still maybe might get Sterling. Great if we can get Sterling in. This will be really, really nice. If we don't, okay, let's try and be confident. Let's try and look forward. If Nelson goes, then you can panic. Please panic. I'll panic with you guys. If Nelson goes and no one comes in, I promise I'm going to panic as well. But Brighton oh, something is happening. Sorry, goodness. Partey and Rice together, definitely. And then, of course, the front three of Saka, Havertz, And of course, on the left, I'm going to have to go with Trossard. I'm a big fan of Martinelli, but I think it has to be Trossard on the wing. Judging of form, I think the only way we can get maybe Martinelli fired up is if we sort of put Trossard in. Maybe that's going to put fire into his belly. Trossardino says, go get Muniz. Would Muniz be on the market right now? I don't think so. Is he much of an upgrade on Gabriel Jesus? I don't think so. Is he better than Havertz? I don't think so either. More breaking news has come in right now, Gunners. Big breaking news, actually, from a really, really reliable source. Sources close to Sterling indicate talks ongoing between Chelsea and Arsenal over potential loan deal. This is what we love to hear. Sterling seems like it's accelerating. We are getting Sterling, I feel like we're negotiating for him now. Now, this comes from Alex Crook from Talksport. So Sterling may be coming after all. After all, Gunners, Sterling may be on his way to the Arsenal. Ooh, I'm not sure about that. I'm interested to see what your guys' thoughts are. Sterling at Arsenal Football Club and Reiss Nelson the other way. It has just come up on Alex Crook, a really reliable source. It's disappointing that it won't focus for you. But yes, Alex Crook has just said it on Twitter right now. A really, really reliable journalist has said Sterling, Arsenal, loan deal happening. This is why we love deadline day, goodness. Anything can happen, and it seems like something is happening right now with Raheem Sterling coming to the Arsenal, and that is something I can get excited about. I will absolutely love that. If we can get Raheem Sterling in, then I will be a happy, happy guy. I'll be a very, very happy guy because I feel like he's a proven goal scorer. He's a runner in behind. He's got experience. He knows Arteta. He's just a great guy as well. When you talk about Arteta, he wants to sign players who are great people, and Sterling certainly is. And it seems like this deal is going to maybe get done. It might get done here. And it is quite breaking news, to be honest, because earlier today, there was no indications that Sterling was coming to Arsenal at all. So now we're sort of now getting a lot of reports coming in. Smash the likes, Gunners. This is good news. Here says karate training courses. Are you sure? Yes, this is a reliable guy on Twitter. And yes, Fabrizio Romano has actually come out now to say Reiss Nelson could be on the move. Wow. So Reiss Nelson out, Raheem Sterling in. I was just talking about that right now, about how I would be so disappointed if Nelson went and we didn't bring anyone in. But it looks like we are getting someone in. Mariam says, let's pray for our boys to give us positive results as needed. Yes, that is a big thing. Positive result against Brighton. Sterling in through the door, Nelson out. That will be something interesting for sure. And I'm sure quite a lot of you will be quite interested with Raheem Sterling at Arsenal because you all seem to really want an attacker. Nelson for Sterling's decent. Still need one more after that, says Trossardino. Yeah, I don't feel like another one is coming. I think I'll be quite content with just, sort of Sterling coming in and Nelson coming out. I feel like that's a really, really good sort of trade for us. I know a lot of you is your cup of tea isn't really Raheem Sterling. I get it. He may not suit everybody, but it is what it is. I feel like Raheem Sterling is a quality player with experience, and that's what we need. We need numbers. Champions League nights, he knows it. I definitely can see Sterling reaching new heights with Mikel Arteta, and I really, really have my fingers crossed this one accelerates through the night, and maybe I might have to actually make a video on Raheem Sterling because I feel like he's better than you guys will think for us. He actually did have a decent season last season. He had 20 goals and assists combined in a Chelsea team that was struggling. That is really, really good. And fair play to Raheem Sterling. I feel like this move as well for him, it is massive, just moving over to Arsenal, staying in London as well. It's a big move for him and his family as well. And I feel like on a loan, it suits all parties. Chelsea get his high wages off. Arsenal get an attacking player that they desperately need. And all those years ago, you remember when Sterling was at Man City? He was a player I really wanted at Arsenal. And I was like, come on, Arsenal, please, 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 Raheem Sterling. If you can bring a player of his quality in, I'll be very happy. And if that happens, goodness, we will be looking good into the season. Sterling can obviously play right wing. He can play left wing. He can play centre forward. He can play the attacking 8 position if must. But again, I feel and I hope this gets done. That's a big thing for me, Gunners. If Raheem Sterling comes now, this big deadline day twist that I didn't expect, great news for us. And I feel like, yeah, definitely can get a bit excited now because Alex Crook is a very reliable Arsenal source. Very reliable. I've been following him for a long time. He often gets a lot, right. And Morgan Root says Sterling is a level raiser. I'm happy with that deal to happen, bro. Yes, and I'm sure a lot of Arsenal fans are happy for that deal to happen too. after the moans we've been doing all day long, to get someone like Raheem Sterling, I feel like we'll all be content, right? I'm sure some of you watching maybe are shaking your head and being like, why on earth would we get somebody like Raheem Sterling? But out of the other players on the market, then yes, I would definitely bring Sterling in. And I feel like the window, it's good. It's good. I'll take that window from probably a 4 out of 10 to a 6.5 out of 10. Not much of a jump, but enough to get me confident for this season for sure. Trossardino has said missed chances FC is coming back. Now I think Raheem Sterling has upped his sort of quality. I feel like he's now in a mature stage of his life. He can take the chances, and I think some players actually suit our way of creating chances. I know it sounds really silly, but I feel like Chelsea's chances come really quick, whereas Arsenal, it's on settled play. There's this build up, moving it around, passing it around, then it comes into the box. Someone like Sterling can certainly, do better and finish those sort of chances off for sure. Jamal says, great deal. He's suited for us. We should option to buy. And I feel like it's just going to be a dry loan potentially. Chelsea are negotiating for an option to buy as well, or, an obligation to buy. That would suit Chelsea. But for us, a dry loan, I feel like, and if he doesn't perform, we can get him out the door as quickly as possible at the end of the season. But yeah, some more news. Fabrizio Romano says Chelsea's still working with Sterling. So maybe, yeah, this is actually quite good news. Kwame says, people talking about Rice, Marino and Erdegaard combination, but I'm more intrigued by a Partey, Marino and Erdegaard sort of trio. That's quite interesting, to be honest. I feel like a lot of us kind of disregarded Partey when Marino came in, but we must remember Marino is a fantastic player. He's got a lot of quality. We shouldn't just disregard him. Not Marino. Partey has a lot of quality, sorry. We shouldn't just disregard him. He's got a lot to give, and I feel like him, Erdegaard and Marino could be a really interesting trio. I'm not completely against that. I'm sure we'll see it at some point this season. Rice can't play every single game. Seth Meyer says, thoughts on the Marino injury? Yeah, just absolutely gutted for him, really. Gutted for us as well. Our luck with signings just isn't great. Timber last year, Marino this year, we just cannot escape it right now, and it's just so disappointing. But what can you do? We've got to trust Partey, we've got to trust Erdegaard, we've got to trust Rice that they can do it, and it may be a blessing in disguise for someone like Ethan Nwaneri, who's going to get some more minutes. And again, something has just come out. Sami Mokbel comes out to say Arsenal not completely shutting the door on Raheem Sterling, but time running out with minimal progress made so far. They are trying though. Sterling very, very keen on a switch to the Emirates. Sami Mokbel is a very reliable source now. He's one of the best in the business. So for him to come out and say that we haven't given up on Sterling, we're still going in, great. I feel like this one may happen at a quick pace. Jamal says Liverpool, he was great. At Man City, he was great. It was just Chelsea that didn't suit his style. And I agree with that as well. I feel like Chelsea just isn't the best for any player to sort of join. I've noticed the trend with Chelsea. They just can't nurture players. And there's clubs like that. Chelsea and United are some of those clubs where they simply cannot nurture a player. And I feel like Sterling will definitely sort of, thrive at Arsenal. Trossardino's shoulder injury, we may not be seeing him till November. Yeah, that's really disappointing for me as well. Not seeing him till December would be detrimental because we really need him in the games against City, the games, against Tottenham. He would have been perfect. But again, that's football. Sterling trying to play Big Six bingo. Yeah, he would have completed every single, sort of Big Six club. Liverpool, City, Chelsea, Arsenal. Only United left on his list, which is quite insane, to be honest. Dr. Vanny Music says, Ed, Arteta really want to miss us another season. They are for sure trying to disappoint, and they are now trying to fight the thing. Shame upon them. If we miss another season, it's their fault. Wow, that is a big statement, to be honest. But I understand a lot of Gunners' disappointment right now. I get it. We were expecting bigger things. We were all expecting maybe a number 9 through the door, a winger at the very least. But it didn't happen. But again, we've got to be confident. If Sterling comes in, I can't see why we can't be happy with Sterling coming through the door. I can't see why that would be a bad thing for us. Kappa Flapper Dapper says Sterling can help us on loan. Pep has worked with him and he knows his style. Yeah, Pep and Arteta obviously have worked with Raheem Sterling, so you've got that experience of working with Arteta with Sterling, something many other players wouldn't have on the winger market. So again, that's why I'm so confident it's gonna work. Having experience working with Mikel Arteta is gonna help bring out the best in Raheem Sterling. So fingers crossed, Gunners, that we can get Raheem Sterling done. And of course, there is not enough time left. The time is ticking, but a deal sheet can be used definitely. And somebody says, oh, another thing has come through. I think it is a Mexican standoff. Who blinks first? Wow. Wow. I mean, there is a lot going on right now, Gunners. I'm just getting notifications from everywhere. A Mexican standoff for Arsenal to sign Raheem Sterling. Who would have thought on a deadline day I will be waiting and praying that Arsenal sign someone like Raheem Sterling? I would have never thought this would have happened. Jamal says, imagine if we can get Sterling and Tony, that would be a great window. Unfortunately, I think the Tony train has actually passed. He is on his way to Al Ali in Saudi Arabia, which is a massive shame. But what can you do, to be honest? I know a lot of Arsenal fans to Tony. He's a great striker, but obviously, no, it isn't happening at all. Raheem Sterling, it does look like. Make sure, Gunners, smash the like. We're so close to 40 likes. Thank you, so many of you staying through this stream. It's just really nice to have this community with me. And of course, the news is just coming in at the minute. I don't know if we're Sterling. Journalists are saying it's like a Mexican standoff. Other people are saying, it's whoever blinks first. There's a lot of things happening. Who's gonna blink first? Who's gonna be the one to accept the deal? We are in a better position than Chelsea for sure. It's in our hands right now. If we don't want to go for Sterling, we don't care. We would just be getting off, high wages off their wage bill if we were to, go in for Sterling. So they're actually better off, giving us Sterling. It doesn't really help them at all to be waiting around, to be honest. But yeah, it is a massive Mexican standoff. Who is going to blink first? Is it going to be Arsenal? Is it going to be Chelsea? Is it going to be nobody? If it's nobody, I feel like, okay, it is what it is. But at least we are trying. At least we have some excitement heading into the last hours of the deadline day. And hopefully, Gunners, fingers crossed, we can have some very good news. And it's just funny when I'm just scrolling through Twitter, checking what Gunners have got to say, everybody is just like, wow, Arteta, you have me begging for a Sterling. And I feel like we are all begging right now for a Raheem Sterling. But anyway, I'm going to end the stream here for now whilst we're on this Sterling news. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you have liked the video. It is really, really appreciated. And until next time, peace.